So this is Vlogmas. Hello, and welcome back to Vlogmas. I'm Cheryl Lindsay, and I'm participating in this 25 days leading up to Christmas of vlogging each day. And my Vlogmas may be different than others you've seen that are focused on other things. Mine is focusing on inspiration and actually the season of Advent, that's period of time leading up to Christmas Day. Now, what is the difference? And so today's my topic of discussion or inspiration is really to reflect on the difference between Advent and Christmas. Christmas is the day that we celebrate, remember, acknowledge the birth of Christ, Christ coming into the world. And that's a day that is celebrated all over the world. Christians and non-Christian alike celebrate Christmas, and people have different traditions. Some celebrate it on a different day, not December 25th. I might make that a subject of another vlog. I don't want these to get too long and get bogged down into various topics, but Christmas is that day. Starts on Christmas Eve through Christmas Day, and that's Christmas. We think of the Christmas season, we talk about that, but we're really talking more about those events, festivities, and preparations and plans around Christmas, around that day. Advent, however, is a season on the Christian calendar that's a little bit longer than a day. It actually begins the 4 Sundays before. It's inclusive of the 4 Sundays before and all the days in between before Christmas. So this year in 2019, that started on December 1st. And each of those days, we have the opportunity to reflect on the coming of Christ into the world, but also to reflect on the coming of Christ back. Christ coming again. The first coming, remembering, celebrating, the second coming, anticipating and expecting. So there's a difference between what we celebrate and what we anticipate. We celebrate what has happened, we anticipate what's to come. And Advent is that season of doing both, of holding both those things in tension. That Christ has come into our world and into our lives, but that Christ will come again. There's that Christ has died, Christ is risen, Christ will come again. Christmas, Christ has come. Christ has died, that's Lent, Easter. Christ will come again. That's also Advent. And so the Advent season, it used to actually be the end of the Christmas year, the Christian year. Now it's moved to the beginning of the Christian year. And I almost think of it as a bookend of the beginning and the end, because the beginning of it is that Christ event, Christ coming into the world, the Word made flesh, the Word embodied, and then we have the anticipation of the Word coming back in and restoring and redeeming and completing the work for full recreation as God intended all things to be, so that there'll be peace and love and joy and hope, and those things will abound and abound in such a way that the world will be transformed. We are obviously not there yet, but we can live in anticipation and expectation and working towards that day being realized. And so each day that we work towards those values coming to life, whether that's just in our own lives, in our own churches, our own communities, and spreading that out through the rest of the world, we're doing our part in the building up of the sovereignty, the sovereign rule and reign of God on earth as it is in heaven. And so this Advent season, I encourage you in the busyness of planning for your Christmas celebration, of working on programs at your church, the children's program at church, or a concert, or a big service, for the gift giving that you might be doing in your home and the plans you have with your family, all the festivities that we have in our communities. As I'm recording this, I'm in between time of a meeting that I had earlier in the church and waiting for the Christmas concert that the community choir has in our sanctuary this evening. In between those times, find some time, make some room, have some space for reflection and rejoicing around the coming of Jesus into our lives, into our hearts, into our world, and our part in bringing all of that means back into the world. My prayer for you, as always, is that you will love God, love your neighbor, and love yourself. And especially in this Advent season, I pray that the light of Christ will shine in you and through you to the glory of God. Thanks for joining me on this Vlogmas. I hope to see you in my next video, which will be tomorrow. And in all things, I pray that God blesses and keeps you, and that you feel God's presence, the Word made flesh, God with us, in a new and tangible way each and every day of your life. Be blessed, and I'll see you next time.